Yes, welcome here once again. Today we're going to discuss about the proportion. Yeah, we are getting to hear about one of the richest persons wedding in our country. You all know that Anant Ambani's wedding. His father Mukesh Ambani is the richest person in Asia. The whole Asia, he is the richest person. I'm trying to get some information about his uh, net worth and all that. I just quickly checked in Google how much is Mukesh Ambani's net worth. In the month of July 2024, his net worth is $123 billion, and the money that he spent on his son's wedding is $600 million. So just calculate how much that 600 million divided by 1,23,000 million dollars. If you do a quick math, it will come somewhere around 0.48 percentage. So that means out of all the money that he has, he spent less than 0.5 percentage. Now this figure is something interesting. Of course, so many people put on their social media that Mukesh Ambani conducted his son's wedding in a very lavish way. He could have done some donations or fed the poor and hungry. Yeah, a lot of speculations are there. We are not going into those kinds of arguments, but I'm only talking now about the proportion, how much he actually possesses and how much does he spend on his son's wedding. Uh, when I look into the Bible, especially the life of Christ, how Christ commended during his life on this earth two women, one widow who in the temple of Jerusalem, when he was closely observing, this widow comes and puts in her two copper coins, not silver, copper coins, and she receives commendation from the Lord Jesus. And at the same time, few rich people also coming and giving a lot of money, putting into the offering box, so that people will see that and appreciate them. But Jesus identifies the right proportion. Jesus points out this. He calls his disciples and tells them that this poor widow woman, she gives this offering out of her poverty, whereas many people here are giving out of their abundance, and she receives commendation in those lines. And this was recorded in both Gospels, Mark 12th chapter, verses 42 to 44, and Luke chapter 21, 1 to 4. And Jesus also points out to another woman. She is actually preached wherever gospel is preached in the world. Her name is also mentioned, or her activity of honoring the Lord with her earnings is mentioned. So she brings her alabaster jar and she breaks it and anoints the Lord Jesus with this oil or ointment, which costs around 300 denarii, or the wages of somewhere around 10 months or 12 months of earnings. She just breaks it and puts in front of Christ in an attitude of worshipping Him. And Jesus also commends her. In fact, the very disciples started grumbling against her so-called wastage of this property, but Jesus tells them that leave her alone. She is doing the best thing, and she is commended for very particular act. And not just that, it was mentioned that wherever gospel is preached in the world, this particular activity done by this particular woman will also be mentioned. So that's a beautiful thing that is even evident in being mentioned in all the four gospels. So what I'm telling here, we have a lot to learn from this verses or chapters. Jesus' commendation. We tend to keep a lot of things for us while we give a very little to the kingdom or to what we believe it is worth. Be careful. It should not happen in our lives that we give very little to the Lord. I know when we say little or more, it is all relative terms. The little for Mukesh Ambani is much higher for me, and vice versa. So this little and more is valued based on that denominator, and be careful to give your best to your Lord Jesus Christ, because the heaven or God did not give you the cheap gift. Though Jesus coming to this world and the salvation is free, it is not cheap. God had to send his son, the only begotten son, to this world, and he gave the best to this entire world when Jesus Christ became a sacrifice on the cross for you and me, giving his best on the cross. He emptied himself. He gave every drop of blood. His body was broken for you and me. And this is such a great news. And this should move us all to give our best, be it our talents, or money, or time, or energy, or skills, or anything and everything at home or workplace, studies or research, whatever you do on the road or in a recreation place, give your best to the Lord, and your life will be a life of worthiness in the sight of God. God bless you all.